On the road to Omaha, Nebraska this spring. And here we are in the beautiful Coachella Valley. And once again, competition starting up fairly quickly with a field of 35. Let's look at the start list. Lane Clark for Australia starting us off aboard Baloo, big tall horse. Ashley Bond, she's back in the saddle after having a child this year. Christian Heineking, always in the contention. Mark Watering from Puerto Rico, and he is a Pan American medalist. Carl Cook as well won the first of the Western League. Lisa Carlson, Olympian. John Anderson, also Olympian from Canada. Mandy Porter, she's been to those finals as well, the World Cup finals over in Sweden. Peter Brzezinski from Austria. Well, I think Kristen Harden as well. Lots and lots of names certainly to look forward to. Jamie Barr spent a lot of the summer overseas in Europe. Well, Christian Heineking, Carl Cook, Ashley Bond, second rides as well. Nicole Honert won her first Grand Prix last year. Lisa Carlson, her name comes up again. Zazu Hoffman winning her first Grand Prix just last week. And Tammy Phillips from Canada, Cara Anthony, Peter Brzezinski, Chris Pratt, and Chris Pratt Concord. Amazing duo as well. John Anderson, terrific in that 32nd spot. That's a long-time partnership. They've been very, very successful at the Grand Prix levels. From France, 33rd in the order, Eric Navet, world champion and Olympic medalist, European champion as well. And I think we are in for an amazing Grand Prix this afternoon. Absolutely beautiful weather conditions, 28 degrees, 40% humidity, and you know what? Almost not a cloud in the sky. It is perfect, picture perfect as always here in the Coachella Valley as we are getting ready to start our $36,500 Desert Classic, and this on the road to Saturday's the Longines World Cup jumping, and that of the final of the 7 qualifiers here on the west coast of North America. Well, right now the course has been opened up for these riders to get a chance and a look at this course designed by Marina Azevedo from Sao Paulo, Brazil. In my opinion, certainly one of the top course designers on the planet. She is absolutely fantastic. And the horses love her. The riders love her courses as well. And fences numbered 1 through 12. We do have 2 combinations on course, and that early combination coming at fence number 6A and 6B, and that is red and white. And it looks like it's the red and white vertical into an oxer out at 6A and 6B, and also 10A and 10B. And that is in the latter stages of the course as fences number 1 through 12, oxer into a vertical out for that combination. We're going to see exactly how it goes, and length on course exactly right on half a kilometer, 500 meters. Time allowed 80 seconds in that first round. And, well, fences 1 through 12 and 2 combinations, making a total of 14 jumping efforts designed by Marina Azevedo from Sao Paulo, Brazil. And as mentioned, 28 beautiful degrees here in the Coachella Valley. It is gorgeous. We are surrounded by those beautiful mountains and a blue sky overhead for 35 lucky starters. And that is this afternoon's event this Saturday. And this is the last of those 7 qualifiers on the Western League, of the Western North American League. So Saturday, the place you want to be here as well, in the beautiful Coachella Valley, part of the HITS Desert Circuit, or HITS Desert Horse Park. Now we had a look at some of those names on the list. Lane Clark and Baloo from Australia starting us off. So he's going to be the first one to tackle all these questions posed by Marina Azevedo. Charlie Jacobs for the USA, he's going to be second out of the gate. Aboard Kalanta, a 10-year-old gelding. Ashley Bond, as mentioned, she has a young daughter that was born just in 2016. So Ashley Bond coming back in, well, her riding style, riding form, but you know what? She is absolutely fantastic. She has been so far throughout the 4 weeks of competition, and she just keeps getting better and better. Chela Lacia, that's her first mount. It's been a long-time partner, where she likes to call her jumping Chelly Bean. So Chela Lacia, and that is a 13-year-old chestnut mare, Ashley Bond, the third out of the gate. Christian Heineking riding for Germany, aboard NKH Kalongo. Beautiful 9-year-old gray gelding, lots of talent, both in the horse and the rider. Of course, all these riders and horses super talented at this level, as this is the top level of the sport. Fifth in the order, and that'll be Mark Watering from Balion. And Balion, certainly great breeding. Balubé de Rouet is the sire of Balion. And Mark Watering, well, he was a medalist at the Pan American Games throughout his career. Carl Cook, well, that is a young gun for the USA. He won the first of the Longines World Cup qualifiers of the 2016-2017 season. He's going to be sixth aboard Tembla. Nice long-time pair that they've been together 4 or 5 years. World's Judgment and Lisa Carlson. Lisa Carlson represented Canada at the Olympics, and so she will be the 7th. Daniel Pedraza, our Mexican rider, aboard Arc de Triomphe, a 12-year-old stallion, and a very well-known stallion there, sired by For Pleasure. John Anderson, another Canadian Olympian, aboard Granadès, and that'll be the first of 2 rides that he has. Mandy Porter for the USA. As I mentioned, she has already represented the United States at the World Cup Finals, and that was over in Sweden. She rides the horse owned by Abigail Weiss Molano. Ali Ramsey from Canada, and her Million van de Hooghoeva, and this is a 10-year-old mare. Ali Ramsey, amateur rider in our field. Peter Brzezinski, the Austrian rider, aboard St. Quentin, that horse that he rides and also owns. And also, they've had a great relationship. They've had a long-time relationship. Lots of Grand Prix victories under their belt. Kristen Harden, Firestone S. Kristen Harden, always one in contention. Rides for the USA. Katie Harris and Lafino. And Lafino, a 9-year-old stallion. Super impressive stallion. Lafino and the amateur rider Katie Harris from Wilton, California. Alan Neighbors and Cool and Cavalier. Alan all the way from Lexington, Kentucky, joining us for our $36,500 and this Desert Classic, our Desert Welcome, at this FEI event. Jamie Barge and Lubo, the rider, rides out of Malibu, California. And then she rides for the USA. Ashley Bond's second ride, that horse owned by Little Valley Farms of Hidden Hills, and that is Cornancer, her 11-year-old gray mare, and super quick, super fast off her feet, that 11-year-old gray mare, Ashley Bond. Such an accomplished and such an amazing pilot to have on a horse. Carl Cook's second ride, and that is Caillou. And Caillou, a 10-year-old gray gelding. So Carl, always in contention. Christian Heineken, his second ride comes to the 19th order. And Cage Quanto, and that is an 11-year-old gelding. So Christian Heineken having 2 shots at $36,500. Nicole Honert, NJK No Regret. As I mentioned, Nicole Honert winning her first Grand Prix victory last year right here in the beautiful Coachella Valley. And she is back aboard that horse that she took home that Grand Prix victory. Lisa Carlson and Perrette. And Perrette, an 11-year-old mare. Lisa Carlson rides for Canada. And once again, Olympian right there. Casey Ament, Soren Z. She had so much success throughout the 2016 Grand Prix season, all across North America, up into Canada and down in California. And Soren Z, a 9-year-old stallion. And Casey Ament riding for the USA. Zazu Hoffman, well, she won her first Grand Prix last week. And she's aboard W. Zermi. And you know what? We are going to be right back here. And the start time, $36,500 Desert Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Soren Z, W. Zermi, Apex, I'm a Demi-Lune.
So you say it so much nicer than me. Okay.
And then so, okay, so good. I'm going to walk over to your booth with you because I've set up the national anthem for the USA. Because that's like, yeah.
La mano.
So we're 4 minutes now. First horse, 4 minutes. First horse in 4 minutes. So we're about a minute away now from our national anthem here to start our festivities here in the Grand Prix ring. Welcoming back Longines to the Coachella Grand Prix ring for today's welcome class, $36,500 Desert Classic. So about a final call now to clear the ring. Clear the ring, please. So we're going to take this chance now to honor this great country with the playing of our national anthem.
Well, certainly a great way to start our $36,500 Desert Welcome. And a field of 34. We have been informed one late scratch in the top of the 15s in the 15th order. That's Alan Neighbors and Cool and Cavalier. So unfortunately, they will not be joining us for this competition. But our time allowed in the first round, 80 seconds, 34 horse and rider combinations, and they will be taking on all these questions. And these questions posed by Marina Azevedo from Sao Paulo, Brazil. We can just see Marina just walking off the course right now, talking to one of the riders.
Saturday's World Cup qualifier.
And here we are on that road all the way down to Saturday in the 7th and the final here in the Western League of the Longines World Cup qualifiers, the Longines jumping Coachella Valley. And it is an absolutely picture-perfect day. The riders as well. Sun is out. You can see by the camera view, blue sky. It is absolutely gorgeous here in the Coachella Valley. And 34 joining us in this field. Australia represented, Germany, Puerto Rico, Canada, Mexico, Germany, Australia, Austria, France, and of course the host nation. And we just played that beautiful anthem for the United States. So this is the final of those 7 qualifiers here on the West Coast. And here is the first of our 34 12-year-old gelding. We hear the sound of the tone. This is Australia's Lane Clark. Well, he rides out of Laguna Niguel, California, but rides internationally for Australia. Ballyou, the horse owned by Georgie Mascari-Segisman. And I got to say, this is a really, really tall horse, well over 17 hands. In fact, I do believe he's almost 18 hands in height. However, got to say one thing. While he's a big horse, his stride is absolutely perfectly elastic. He can lengthen and shorten with ease. So Ballyou and Lane Clark, the first of 34, and they're going to start out on fence number 1. Nice inviting vertical as that comes up. And you can see this horse, as he jumps actually almost a little bit, it seems a little bit slow over top of the fences. And he's so careful. So those first 3 fences behind them, they make that left-hand turn down to an oxer. We have the Seahorse Standards, fence number 4, easily done so far. Fence number 5 coming up. That is the Purina signature fence. You can see the water tray or the Liverpool underneath that. Nicely done. The first of the 2 combinations straight ahead of them. There's the vertical in, not a problem. And the oxer out, not a problem at all. Now Lane having to readjust his reins there a little bit. This horse jumps so hard. He's such a nice horse. And a 7-year-old, well, that's fence number 7, just a correction. This is a 12-year-old gelding and comes into that 8AB. My correction, this is the second of 3 combinations, and that is a triple bar in to the vertical out. And that, I think, one of the major questions on course, that triple bar gets the horses slightly out of form. That vertical, they have to rock back so quickly. Coming to the third of those combinations, fence number 10A. There is 10A. Oxer in, not a problem. There's the vertical to get out, and just 2 more jumping efforts. Well, there's fence number 11. Nicely done. And let's have a look at that time. Don't think time's going to be a factor here. There's that finish line. There's the dash for the finish line. 77.60 seconds. Lane Clark, Australia, gets on to that leaderboard. Right, obviously, first, and he is in first place, but he has the first clear round. That was such a fantastic job. Such a great rider and a great horse as well. Got to tell you, that horse is absolutely huge at 18 hands. And a 12-year-old gelding, but he makes it look so easy. Lane Clark, such a masterful rider for Australia. So that was the first of our 34 joining us for our $36,500 Desert Welcome. And this stake, and this is the first of the FEI events this week. And this is week number 4, all the way through week number 8 here in the beautiful Coachella Valley for the Coachella, well, this winter series. And Lane Clark at Ballyou. You see that horse just walking out of the ring. He's happy. Lane Clark certainly is happy. And I know Georgie Mascari-Segisman, such a wonderful owner, she will be happy with that ride as well. Ballyou, the horse sired by Belubé de Rouet, so, and that's the Holsteiner. Lots of good breeding, lots of talent there in that first of the combinations of 34, in fact, that we are seeing this afternoon. So $36,500. That's obviously very important as these riders, they want to get that lion's share of that this afternoon as well. This is the first of the FEI events this week, and they kind of want to get their toes in the water just a little bit to see exactly how their horses are going to be responding. Well, I'm told that the time allowed, in fact, it is being reduced to 78 seconds. So that means that Lane Clark, Ballyou, still that clear round, 77.60 seconds. And with that change, that can be a psychological change for the riders. It's only coming down 2 seconds, but you know what? 2 seconds can mean a lot. And this is Charlie Jacobs. Galanta is the horse, a 10-year-old gelding, first American rider. This horse, a Royal Dutch Warm Blood. This rider from Boston, Massachusetts, rides for the USA with a horse owned by CMJ Sport Horse LLC. Now you can see Lane Clark Value, his horse, a lot bigger. This is more of a sports car model. Certainly lots of talent. Looks like a beautiful canter. Great horse as well. This 10-year-old gelding owned by CMJ Sport Horse. And we're certainly lucky to have that. Wow. What a fantastic first jump. Easily over that oxer at fence number 2. And right now it's kind of looking like Galanta and Charlie Jacobs, they could be jumping a house, not a problem as well. As this horse looks so rideable. Oh, unfortunately, just coming down on that back rail at fence number 4. And those breakaway cups, they just dropped that rail. So the first of the 3 combinations coming up, and that'll be 6A and 6B. And I think fence number 4, that's right in front of the crowd as well. So sometimes these horses, they get a little slightly distracted. Maybe there's a movement and they see something. So that pure white vertical fence number 7. There's the triple bar. Slight rub, not a big deal. And the vertical, nicely done, making that left-hand turn. Fence number 9 coming up fairly quickly. We do have that horizontal stripes on the rails at fence number 9, also known as Mafia stripes on that. And possibly gives a little bit of an optical illusion for the rider to find that distance, but not a problem at all. Fence number 10A, unfortunately, coming down. 10B as well. So we're at 12 faults coming home. It looks like we're having just a little bit of a disagreement because I think the horse wanted to go past that outside leg and just continue down to the rail as opposed to realizing that there was another fence there. It's certainly such a nice expression on this beautiful horse. So Charlie Jacobs and Kalanta, unfortunately not quite as planned for them as their time 87.02 seconds. So they're going to pick up jumping faults plus time faults as well in the amount of 19.
A time of 87.02, that'll be a 16 jumping faults, 3 time penalties, total of 19 faults.
Well, so we have those 16 jumping and the 3 time faults to make up the 19 faults for Charlie Jacobs and Kalanta. And just not quite as planned this afternoon. However, expect to see that rider, that horse on Saturday, they're going to come back as that horse, that's the first time it's been in this competition arena so far throughout the circuit. So lots of things possibly for the horse to look at, for the horses to get a little distracted and go, oh my goodness, that popped up. Well, Chela Lacia, and that's the third horse, a 13-year-old mare, chestnut mare, longtime partner with the rider who has quite the resume. She's already, well, she's won the $1 million Grand Prix a couple years back. She has a young daughter as well. For the USA, Ashley Bond. So Australia, 1 clear. This is the second of our American riders, the third in the order. And Ashley Bond and Chela Lacia, first 3 fences behind them, making it look so easy, as always. And I got to tell you, Ashley Bond hasn't been back in the tack for that long after having had her beautiful daughter. However, not missing a step at all. And Ashley Bond, of course, your horses as well, they're kept very fit by her father, Steve Bond, an accomplished rider himself. And so that's why it's so easy not to miss a beat there. And there's that 8A, 8B, rocks back at the B part on that left-hand turn, Mafia stripes, fence number 9. And wow, what a great 13-year-old chestnut mare, Chela Lacia, Ashley Bond for the USA. Unfortunately, 10A coming down, back rail on the oxer, just didn't get quite across that one enough. It's a tight turn from 9 to 10A. And there is that final fence. There's the finish line. As always, time never a factor for Ashley Bond and Chela Lacia. And 72.36 seconds. And unfortunately, just that one rail. So Ashley Bond for the USA into second place. But Lane Clark for Australia and Value in the lead. So Australia lead in the field. Got to say, still the early stages, however, as only 3 out of 34 have joined us. And Ashley Bond in second. So close to being clear. Let's go to Germany this time, and the rider from Germany, Christian Heineking. Well, he is originally from Germany. Rides out of Texas, in fact, and he rides the horse owned by NKH LLC of Dallas, Texas. And this is a superb, fantastic horse. Got to say, I've seen this horse so many times. NKH Colongo, a 9-year-old gray gelding. This horse sired by Calvato C. And he's just making that right-hand turn, his approach down to the first fence. This horse always very, very solid. Young horse as well, 9 years of age, so take that into account. But he's just a superb athlete, both the horse and the rider. So easily over fence number 2, right-hand turn onto the vertical. Okay, a rub at fence number 3. That's not a big deal because sometimes it's just a reminder. And the horse goes, oh, maybe I got to work just a little bit harder. We come down this line from fence number 5 through the combination. Liverpool, not a problem. Didn't even look at that. And the one nice thing about NKH Kalongo, he can be at times possibly a little bit looky, a little bit spooky, but that also makes him jump just that much better because he's such a fantastic athlete. So we come across right by that gazebo. Okay, the B element coming down. And so that 8A, that triple bark, it's the horse just to jump and stretch, and then the vertical comes up so quickly, sometimes that's going to come down. So that's what happens, especially on a young horse as well. So nicely through that third of the combinations, just 2 fences remaining, just the 1 rail so far, and time certainly not going to be a factor. Oh, and unfortunately, it came down. Looks like Christian, fortunately, had a little bit of a tap there at that last fence to try to get the horse's attention, as once again, they come off of fence number 11, make that right-hand turn to fence number 12. They naturally want to go out to the rail, and so you have to get their attention sometimes, moved back onto the track and realize there is one more jumping effort. So Christian Heineking and NKH Kalongo, well, in fact, 8 jumping faults, 74.36 seconds. That's going to put them in a 3rd place. Lane Clark still in the lead and riding for Puerto Rico. Here's Mark Watering, the rider and owner, and this is a 15-year-old chestnut stallion, Balion. And this horse is signed by Baloubet de Rouet. So we do hear the sound of that tone and that 45-second clock counting down. Now our $36,500 Desert Welcome and this competition this afternoon being broadcast on FEI YouTube right around the world. And thank you so much for joining us here in the beautiful Coachella Valley in Southern California. Okay, so those first 3 fences behind Mark Watering and Balion. Mark Watering, Pan American medalist throughout his career. Very successful Grand Prix rider. And the first 4 fences, so easy. We come down to this first line to the combination. Just a little misstep off the ground there. Kind of looked like they didn't quite get there. And I do believe that there's that, unfortunately, the misstep, which meant that vertical for that combination just got that much too far away to be able to get there. And the horse looked a little bit looky over fence number 5, a little bit looky or a little bit spooky, as looking down at the Liverpool. So we hear the sound of the tone. With that and the refusal, 6 penalty seconds will be added to the running time as that vertical was disrupted. Uh-oh. And unfortunately, under International Equestrian Federation rules, that is the second refusal. And just some tough luck for Mark Watering from Puerto Rico and Balion. So not quite as planned, as the horse just had a little bit of a spook coming in at fence number 5 and never quite got there. So Mark Watering just taking fence number 1 as that courtesy fence to make sure that, in fact, all of his horse's confidence is still there, and just got a little sticky through that line all the way up to the combination, the first of the combinations. Back to the USA for Carl Cook, and the first of 2 rides for Carl in our $36,500 Desert Welcome, and Carl Cook aboard Tembla. And Tembla owned by Signeostomy of Redwood City, California. This is a 13-year-old chestnut mare. Horse hired by Tangelo Avanda Zutova. As I mentioned earlier in the program, Carl Cook winning the first of the 7 legs here in the series on the Western League for North America. So he knows what it takes to be at this level. And in fact, Eric's trainer coming at the 33rd spot, and that will be Eric Nave. And certainly is great to watch Carl just mature through his riding. He's still in his 20s. He was North American, both individual and team gold medalist. In my opinion, certainly one of the names to watch for in the future as one of the American young guns here. He is super talented. And as Mount Tembla easily through that middle of the combinations fence, number 8A and 8B. And his tactical riding, he just gives his horses such a nice feel on the course as we come to fence. Well, there's 10A. There's 10B. And there's 11. So the USA may have their first clear right here. Time's not a factor. Oh! Just looks like he pushed just a little bit past that distance at the final fence, fence number 12, Carl Cook and Tembla. Well, that's going to put them into third place, 75.52 seconds. Ashley Bond still in second aboard Cella La Cia, fastest of the four falters, 72.36. But Carl, the first of two rides he has, and he moves into third place. So close to being clear. You're going to hate that when you see that final fence ahead of you. You know you're going clear, but unfortunately, just the slightest touch. Let's go to Canada this time, and Canadian Olympian Lisa Carlson. She rides out of Okotoks, Alberta, Canada, and Okotoks just south of Calgary, Alberta. And she rides the horse owned by WJ Partners, World's Judgment. And this horse sired by Lizzie Madden's amazingly famous Horse Judgment. And this is a 14-year-old bay mare. World's Judgment and Lisa Carlson. And Lisa Carlson, always one of those riders to watch for, always is in contention. And you know, if Lisa's in the jump off, it is a super fast jump off, as Lisa Carlson always, well, she loves speed because she really likes to go forward, and her horses respond perfectly as she does so. Lisa Carlson, World's Judgment. Oh, just looked like she got just a little bit past that, just maybe pulled a little bit too far past. As remember, from fence number 5 to 6A, there's a certain step that they want to get. There's a certain count they want to get, whether it's a little bit forward or whether it's a little bit held or just staying on a 12-foot stride. So, and then fence number 7, unfortunately, coming down as well. The horse didn't look like he really just got its eye on fence number 7. And here's fence number 9. Nicely done. There's that left-hand turn, and they're turning away from the crowd, down to that third of the combinations. And there's 10A and 10B. Well, fence number 11, nicely done. Well, we have 12 faults as we're coming home. And that final fence, unfortunately, same one that, well, the previous rider, Carl Cook, had down. Lisa Carlson, World's Judgment, as well, having that final fence down. And the total is 16 faults with a time of 72.05 seconds. On the first round, she always likes to carry a lot of speed, which certainly helps her horses out and cross the oxers and get around, because when you're jumping at this level, time faults really you don't want to have. You don't want to waste those jumps and those good rounds, and you want to make sure your horses have all that pace, because that time allowed, 78 seconds, it's always something in the back of their minds. Well, here from Mexico, Daniel Pedraza and the 12-year-old stallion, horse sired by For Pleasure, is Arc de Triomphe. And so we're going to see exactly how this goes. Still just that one clear, and I thought we'd have a lot more clears by now. I realize we're in the early stages, and this is the 8th of our 34. And our rider from Mexico. So right now, well, North American having been represented, Canada, United States, and now Mexico. Daniel Pedraza, Arc de Triomphe, making that approach. And such a wonderful horse here. And easily over fence number 2. So the horse certainly had lots of power, lots of scope. And a 12-year-old stallion here, sired by For Pleasure. Well, and coming down to that line, that seems to have caused some problems, because you've got to get in perfectly at fence number 5. Stick to your plan at fence number 6A. And 6B, nicely done. Now here's a little bit of a breather, just a nice upright, fence number 7. And we're sending you back across that diagonal. There is that triple bar into the vertical out. Oh, what a nice ride. Okay, so it's definitely not a problem. Got through that I think one of the more difficult combinations, 8A, B, with that's a triple bar in. Fence number 9. Here's that turn of fence number 10A and 10B through the combinations. Not a problem. And there's the B. Okay, so time right now, this could be a factor. As he's coming home, 78 seconds is the time allowed. Is he going to do it? Oh, just over our time allowed of 78 seconds. 79.08 seconds. What a great rider. Daniel Pedraza from Mexico, Arc de Triomphe, one-time fault. And you know what? Well, Daniel is certainly happy with that. He's got to be, because that horse is just fantastic, and he gives it such a nice, solid ride as well. So great job. Just the one-time fault. That's not a big deal. That's going to put him in a second place. Still our one clear. That's Lane Clark and Balayu. And we turn to Canada. Once again, John Anderson, Canadian Olympian, aboard Granite S. This rider from Calgary, Alberta. And the first of 2 rides he has as his regular mount. He's ridden in so many Grand Prix, terrific. They will be coming in that 31st spot. So John Anderson, rider and owner of Granite S, 12-year-old gelding. This horse sired by Faust Z. Also John Anderson making that right-hand turn, as all the riders have done. In fact, the way fence number 1 is set up, I think you have to come off that right. Whether your horse jumps off the left better, you have to come off that right turn. And it's quite interesting with John Anderson and Granite S. John, in fact, had Jill Henswood riding Granite S for a while, back about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, just to, that's exactly these Grand Prix riders at that level. They ask for assistance from each other, and that's kind of what you have to do with these wonderful horses, because at this level, besides the riders being exceptional athletes, the horses are as well, and sometimes you just like to have somebody else's opinion. So definitely not a problem. Through that 6AB. So fences 1 through 6B, picture perfect. As I mentioned, John Anderson, Canadian Olympian, so he has ridden at the top level of this sport. And just his pure riding skill just shows that. As Granite S right now almost looks like he wants to get just a little bit pulley coming to the fences, and that may have been what happened there at the vertical, just getting pulled past the distance a little bit. As the horses get on through the course, sometimes they become a little bit stronger, and I do believe that's what happened there. Time definitely not a factor, 74.41 seconds. Well, John Anderson, he has a second ride as well. And sometimes with second rides, having 2 obviously gives you an advantage, because you get to see exactly how the course rides and so forth. However, every horse is totally different. So John Anderson, Granite S, just the 4 faults and just that 1 rail. Second fastest of the 4 faulters, 74.41 seconds on the leaderboard. That puts him in the 4th place, with still just that lone clear, the first out of that gate, and that's Lane Clark and Balayu. Milano up next, and Mandy Porter for the USA. This rider, as I mentioned previously, she has already been to the World Cup final. She knows exactly what it takes to get there. And this horse, Milano, in great hands with Mandy Porter for the USA. Milano owned by Abigail Weiss, Rancho Santa Fe. A Swedish warm blood here, 12-year-old gelding. And Mandy Porter, such a phenomenal rider for the USA. And I got to say, pretty much nothing phases Mandy Porter when she's on a horse. She is always cool, calm, and collected. Gives them such a solid ride. And if you're really looking for such a wonderful rider, this is one you want to emulate, Mandy Porter. And this horse, Milano, such a wonderful horse. So great combination here, joining us, $36,500 Desert Welcome as we come down to that line. Okay, perfectly in. And that was just too bad. You saw the horse coming down to that 6A, to that vertical, kind of toss its head a little bit, which may have meant that it was just not coming back quite fast enough and couldn't get its eye on that vertical. Okay, so a rub at 8B, that's not a big deal, because then you see the horse explode over fence number 9. And so sometimes that's what happens. They just, the horse has its own plan as it's coming down because it sees its own distance, and the rider's going, well, no, we need to maybe come back a little bit. And sometimes a little bit of a rub isn't that big a deal because it just gets the attention back. Also got to say for the rider, sometimes it's like, whoa, I need to change my ride just a little bit. Okay, so just that one fence down, 74.75 seconds. Well, Maddie Porter and Milano, 74.75, and that's going to put them into 5th place. So far in the lead, 1 clear, Lane Clark. Daniel Pedraza from Mexico, 1 time fault. And we have 4 with 4 faults sitting in positions 3, Ashley Bond. Position 4, John Anderson. Manny Porter just moving into position number 5. And Carl Cook now into that 6th spot. So Mandy Porter, I know she's going to be happy with that ride. Such a beautiful horse owned by Abigail Weiss. Let's go back to Canada. Ali Ramsey. And Ali Ramsey, this rider from Victoria, British Columbia, or she's also known as the Island. So she's from the Island, and she is aboard the Belgian Warm Blood, Merlin van de Hooghoeve, a 10-year-old mare. There's an amateur rider here, Ali Ramsey, all the way from Canada. But don't let that amateur rider status fool you, because she is certainly a nice, seasoned rider as well. Okay, so place jumps 1 through 4 there completed. There's the line down to the combination. Nicely, and horse jumped huge over top of that oxer. A little bit of a weave as they came down to that combination. But you know what? I think Ali Ramsey, in fact, was planning for that weave because it meant that she didn't have to pull on the reins and allowed her to get to fence number 6A perfectly. So well-seasoned ride down to that combination, the first one. Second combination behind them. That was beautifully done. And there's fence number 9. Okay, so we only have 4 more jumping efforts. 1 combination, a vertical and an oxer. Perfectly in. Perfectly out. Didn't even have to do anything. That was an absolutely spectacular ride. Ali Ramsey and Merlin van de Hooghoeve. Great job. And a clear round, 75.58 seconds. What a great young rider from Victoria, BC, British Columbia, Canada. She did such a great job. Loved the ride from fence number 5 all the way through that 6AB as she let the horse bulge out a little bit, which meant that it bled off a little bit of speed and got her to the right spot at that combination. Such a tactical ride. Ali Ramsey from Canada, Hermeline van de Hooghoeve. So we are going to have a jump off this afternoon. And right now it is Australia and Canada. Let's go to Austria and Peter Beschenig. This rider, in fact, rides out of Murrieta, California, but originally from Austria. And he's aboard St. Quentin, a 15-year-old bay gelding. And this horse sired by Kitam de Revel. Well, and Peter Beschenig, this is the first of 2 rides he has. This is a long-time Grand Prix partner that he is aboard St. Quentin. They've had great success at the Grand Prix level. So there's that left-hand turn. Oh, easily done. Beautifully done. Fence number 5, 6A and B behind them. Make that right-hand turn onto the nice, I'm going to say it's a breather fence, fence number 7. I realize it's a tall upright, but you can just relax a little bit. But if you notice with that, fence number 7, the horse almost wanted to continue going straight and not make that turn onto 8A and 8B. Peter rode that absolutely perfectly as he is going clear so far. Just 4 fences remaining, 4 jumping efforts. That's nicely done. Okay, just the vertical. That's coming up quickly. Now he's got to get his eye focused on fence number 12. Right there. Oh! Just didn't get across that oxer. That is too bad. That back rail on the oxer barely touched, in my opinion. But you know what? That is the way the sport goes. And this is show jumping. At St. Quentin, Peter Beschenig from Austria. 4 jumping faults, 72.83 seconds to put them into 5th place as second fastest of the 4 falters. I know Peter wanted to be in the jump off, But I think he's got to be happy with that because that was just a fantastic, fantastic ride.
So back to the U.S. rider now. This is entry number 472. It's Katie Harris.
Well, let's move on to Katie Harris and the 9-year-old stallion. And this is Lafino, amateur rider from Wilton, California. And I got to say, if anybody has a favorite horse, this one I'm not sure why, but it is absolutely spectacular. I love its front end, love its hind end. It has that pretty much relaxed canter all the way around. And it's just, he just looks like a really cool dude. So this is Lafino and Katie Harris for the USA. And he just goes around pretty much on the same cadence all the time and jumps the fences absolutely fantastically. He's got so much power. And Katie is such an amazing amateur rider. Nothing phases her. She lets the horse come to her and go way over top of those fences. So she just stays in that one spot and let the horse jump up through his withers and meet her. And then she just says, okay, that's good. So there's fence number 7. We come down to that, well, the triple bar. Easily over the triple bar. Backs himself up. Easily over the B element. And this, to me, is such fantastic riding because you know Katie she's put her leg on, the horse moves up. She brings him back, but you've never see a change of cadence. The horse just opens up its stride and is so elastic through its stride. So just one more fence. Time looks like it's good. Oh, and Lafino certainly not happy with that. That is just too bad. He is such a neat 9-year-old stallion, Lafino. Katie Harris for the USA. And you could just tell he was not happy at all having that final fence down. In fact, I think that's about the first rail I've ever seen that horse, and I've watched that horse compete a lot, ever have down. So Lafino, 9-year-old stallion, ridden and owned by Katie Harris, and that puts them into 9th place. Let's stay with USA and the rider from Malibu, Jamie Barge. This horse owned by Kylie Coe, also of Malibu, and this is Lubo, a 12-year-old gelding. And a phenomenal rider Jamie Barge is, and she rides for the USA. She's actually spent a lot of the summertime traveling and competing over in Europe. Very successful European tour this summer. And I do have to say, if there's one thing that Lubo actually does have a tendency to remind me of, and it's a cat. This horse is so athletic, so knows exactly where his legs are, and can stretch amazingly over top of these wide oxers. And unfortunately, just looks like got maybe a little bit too close to that oxer, and sometimes that happens. But as well, fence number 5, it has that Liverpool, so there is a slight distraction for these horses because it's a change of the color from the footing. Fence number 7 coming down. So there's fence number 9. 2 fences down, 8 jumping faults as Jamie Barge and Lubo turn for home through the last of the combinations. Nicely coming back over top of that. And Jamie is such a beautiful rider. Such great hands. And she's got such a nice feel with her horses. Well, unfortunately, 12 jumping faults, 73.67 seconds for Jamie Barge and Lubo. And that's going to put them into 11th place. Right now, 12th, and that's that final ribbon placing. Lisa Carlson from Canada and World's Judgment with a total of 16 faults. Well, we're going to exchange one gray, in fact, for the next. So you are not seeing things. This horse is Cornancer, the horse owned by Little Valley Farms, an 11-year-old gray mare. And this horse is sired by, well, the famous cornet Obolensky. Ashley Bond riding for the USA. I got to say, it is so much fun having Ashley Bond back in the tack. Now she's had that absolutely beautiful, beautiful young daughter. And Ashley Bond, always, you see that look. She's got that game face on. She jokes around all the time. She's the sweetest person. But once it's Game time? It is game time. And she gets in this ring and her mind just goes into that mode. And that's indicative of the top level athletes. So Ashley Bond, Cornancer, great job as always. Okay, so there's that first combination. She's going to make that right hand turn. So good. Well, good so far. Don't want to jinx anything as we come to fence number 8A and 8B. Oh, and this horse just rocked back beautifully through that B element, stretched out over the A element. As always, Ashley Bond's horse is so well schooled. This is Cornancer, owned by Little Valley Farms. There's that two stride. Oh, and the B element coming down. Almost looked like the horse just got maybe a little bit too close to that. Well, 4 faults, 71.31 seconds. And I've got to say also that 10AB combination, it has that yellow color to it. And the horses have a tendency to have that down.
621 will be shown with
well, but you see, you know what? Ashley's super happy with that. And that is that $1 million smile. Ashley Bond and Cornancer. Carl Cook back in the ring. Well, there's Carl. And right now he is sitting in 9th position. Caillou is a 10-year-old Grey Gelding owned by Signe Ostaby. So Carl on his first mount, just the 4 faults. And it was clean right down to that final fence, but unfortunately fence at number 12. That was his nemesis on his first mount, and that was Tembla. He's got a second roll of the dice here. Caillou, a 10-year-old Grey Gelding, as mentioned. And you can see with Caillou having the red ribbon in the front and the red ribbon in the tail as well. And always shows like that. The red ribbon in the tail usually means for the other riders to possibly steer clear of the hind end. Oh, nicely done. What a great jump. That hind end over. Oh, no. I think the horse just overjumped fence number 5 so dramatically the hind end came up. And Carl just could not get there in the spot that he wanted to get down to that vertical into the combination. That is just some terrible luck for Carl Cook. Because, I mean, that horse, the hind end just exploded over fence number 5. And sometimes what happens is the horse lands way too far over top of its shoulder and can't get going afterwards fast enough. So fence number 9, we're going to make that left-hand turn onto fence number 10. So we know we're going to have that jump off right now. Would have loved to have had Carl in the jump off round. Well, and through the combination. So he's got the 4 faults for that circle. So I'm not even going to call that. I mean, it was a refusal technically from a judging point, but it was just he had circled there. He knew he could not get into that combination at this height without getting into trouble, so he had to turn away. So unfortunately, well, 4 jumping and 2 time for a total of 6 faults, 85.62 seconds. That is too bad. And this horse owned by October Hill Hunters and Jumpers of Texas. When you see, he's making that left-hand turn. I said possibly not going to happen, but Christian Heineken aboard NKH Quanto. And sometimes the riders, these horses, just like people, they're, you're either right-handed or left-handed, and one side is possibly a little more dominant. You try to make sure there's dominant on both sides. But Christian, knowing this horse jumps off the left just that much better, wanted to come off that lead and set up that first line so perfectly. He's such a technical rider. Christian Heineken from Germany, NKH Quanto, a 10, 11-year-old gelding. This horse sired by Kidam de Revel and a Holsteiner. So nicely through the Purina signature fence. Up and over that combination. When we make that right-hand turn, just get relaxed just a little bit. But you can't relax too much, because if you relax too much, remember there's that thing called time allowed, and the riders, they want to make sure they get in under that time allowed at 78 seconds. Okay, so fences 1 through 9 completed. 10, 11, and 12 up next. Here's fence number 10, 10A. 10B, easily through that combination. And this horse is making the height of the fences look so easy. NKH Quanto, such a talented young horse. And we have Germany to come back, well, in fact, with 4 faults. My correction, my apologies. We had 1 fence down on course. And 76.69 seconds. And unfortunately, that horse, what a great horse, NKH Quanto and Christian Heineking for Germany. And that's going to put him into 10th. Right now, with him moving into 10th place, he knocks himself in his first mount. And that's NKH Kalango out of our top 12 placings. 12th position, Carl Cook with the 6 faults. And that is Caillou. Our next rider, having already have that first Grand Prix victory under her belt. That was last year right here in this competition arena in the Grand Prix Stadium. Nicole Honard, she rides out of Encinitas, California, professional rider, and she rides the horse owned by NJK Show Jumpers of beautiful San Diego. NJK, no regrets. This is a 15-year-old chestnut mare and a Grand Prix partner of Nicole Honard. Okay, so there is fence number 2 behind them. And Nicole Honard, very talented young professional rider. You gotta see that horse jump fence number 4 absolutely perfectly. Nicole always does such a nice job with her horses. Coming down to the first combination. There's the A, there's the B, nicely done. Rode the horse over top of that B element, which meant she actually kept her leg over top of that oxer to make sure the horse crossed that back rail. There's the vertical. Coming down to 8A. Slightly touched on the A element. It's not a big deal because it stayed up. Okay, that one came down. Looks like they had a little bit of a fight, little bit of a disagreement. Defense number 9. Not sure if NJK No Regret really got a full focus and seeing that was an oxer. Nicely ridden through the 10AB combination. There's fence number 11 coming home with just the 4 faults. And, oh, that is just too bad. That final fence coming down, 8 jumping faults.
Nicole coming in with a 2 rails for a total of 8 faults.
That time 76.83 seconds. Let's have a look at that leaderboard. Well, 14th right now, and ribbon placings only 212. So Nicole Honard and JK No Regret. Fortunately, they're out of the ribbons this afternoon in our $36,500 Desert Welcome. But we are once again on that path all the way to Saturday's event, and that is the Longines World Cup Jumping Grand Prix and the final of the 7 here on the West for the North American League. 14, in fact, World Cup qualifiers right here in North America. 7 on the East Coast, 7 on the West. Well, Lisa Carlson, there she is. She's back in the ring. Her first ride was World's Judgment, but this time Lisa Carlson from Canada, Canadian Olympian, aboard Perrette. And Perrette, an 11-year-old bay mare. I can say Lisa, obviously, having represented Canada at the Olympics, certainly a very talented rider. That is enough said, but you watch her lower leg as she jumps those fences, and it is just beautiful to watch. She's got such a nice feel on all of her horses. A little bit of ride. Oh, perfect. That was perfect. So she rode her horse beautifully through that 6AB combination. And if you notice, World's Judgment, a totally different ride than Perrette. So while she has two horses in this, they both go totally differently. This is a little bit more of a relaxed ride. World's Judgment has a lot more of her own steam. And this 11-year-old mare, Perrette, such a great jumper. Oh, and that's just too bad. Almost looks like the landing gear just didn't get out of the way quite fast enough at fence number 10A. I think she's going to be happy with this. Cutting it really close to that time allowed, 77.75 seconds, and 1 rail through the final of the combination set by Marina Azevedo from Sao Paulo, Brazil, and Lisa Carlson now in 12th place. So Lynn Clark, Ali Ramsey, they're going to see each other in the jump-off. Daniel Madraza from Mexico, just the one-time fault, sitting in third. Ashley Bond, she's in fourth and in fifth spot. And Peter Brzezik right now in sixth. Well, we're not done this first round, and it is super exciting right here in the Coachella Valley as we are on the quest and on, well, my goal is to have at least another clear, if not another couple. But the two we have in the jump-off, Lane Clark, Ali Ramsey, it's going to be a great battle right now. Back to the USA, Casey Ament, and this professional rider aboard the 9-year-old Gray Stallion Soren Z. This horse owned by KW Jump. We're sired by Sandro Boy. And a super solid professional rider Casey Ament is. She had such a phenomenal and very successful junior career, moved up into the professional ranks, and she's kept her wonderful talent going, and she's a beautiful rider to watch. I got to say, all of her horses always well schooled, well turned out, so responsive. Gave just that little extra check at fence number 3, just to get the horse up a little bit. So possibly he was coming down there, maybe pulling a little bit, and she wanted to say, hey, you know, you have to get your front end up over this tall upright. So there's 5. We're on to 6A and 6B. Oh, what a nice ride through that 6A and 6B. Okay, there is that turn on to 8A and 8B. Okay, so Casey Ament, Soren Z, not even coming close to any one of those fences. There's fence number 9. There's the stretch over top of that oxer. We come back to an oxer to a vertical, 10A and 10B. Oh, that is too bad at that third of the combinations. 10A, and I told you that color sometimes the horses don't see so well, or they don't see it as well, and it has a tendency to come down. That little bit of a lighter, almost a powder yellow. So 8 jumping faults, 75.89 seconds. Fantastic rider, Casey Ament for the USA, Soren Z. Unfortunately, just not quite as planned. Picture perfect right down to that third and the last of the combinations. That'll bring us to the horse owned by Wood Acres Stables of Santa Monica. And this horse is a 14-year-old mare known as W. Zermi. And the rider for the USA, Zazu Hoffman. And Zazu Hoffman, well, she won her first Grand Prix last week. As well, Zazu Hoffman, such a great professional rider. She, in fact, works for Dick Carvin, Francie Steinerville Carvin. And she had a great junior career and has turned that into such a fantastic professional career. Oh, just some tough luck. Almost looked the horse just stuck up in the air a little bit over top of that, which meant it got the height, but it didn't actually get across the actual distance. So it came off the ground and just kind of did more of a high jump than using the scope needed to get across that fence. So we're 4 faults coming into the first line, or into this line, the first of the combinations. And the A element being down. Okay, so Zazu Hoffman, W. Zermi 13, or W. Zermi, with 8 faults, and that'll make it 12, in fact, as the B element of that combination coming down. So Marita Azevedo, well, certainly putting a lot of questions on course, great questions as well, in which 2 have been absolutely picture perfect and under that time allowed of 78 seconds. Zazu Hoffman coming in with 12, and looks like 16 right there as fence number 11 coming down, and fence number 12 as well to make it a total of 20 faults. And that is just some tough luck. Great young professional rider, Zazu Hoffman, still in her early 20s, W. Zerme, and a total of 20 faults.
Qualifying class will be 3 o'clock this Saturday right here in the Grand Prix ring. 3 o'clock Saturday, Longines FEI World Cup qualifying.
So Zazu Hoffman and W. Zermi, and they will not change our top 12. And we're hoping to see them on Saturday. And one of the names to look forward in the future as well. Zazu Hoffman, she's got a great professional, great Grand Prix rider already. and she rides for the USA. Here from Australia, Harley Brown. And this horse owned by Emma Catherine Reichow. He is the 13-year-old Bay Gelding Apex. And Harley Brown rides for Australia. And while he rides for Australia, he in fact rides out of Northern California. Well, so right now in the jump-off, Australia and Canada. So, I'd love to maybe have another Australian rider. And Harley Brown and Apex certainly could be that combination to go clear on this course. So on fence number 4, there's that left-hand turn. And if right around the world, if you're wondering where the sun is, well, this is where it is, in the beautiful Coachella Valley. And we're just south of La Quinta, south of Palm Springs. And this is the best day possible, best weather possible for show jumping in this beautiful location. So 8A and 8B behind them, Harley Brown and Apex, so far so good, making it look so easy. And fence number 9, not a problem with that spread fence. We're going to make that left-hand turn. Harley Brown, he turns with his head. He knows exactly where he wants to get. Beautiful ride. Gets there. The horse responds absolutely perfectly. A little bit of a half halt there on fence number 11. And look at that. That is absolutely fantastic. Well, Harley Brown and Apex. And a clear round, 74.98 seconds. And that means Australia with 2 in the jump-off, Canada with 1 in the jump-off round. And we really would love to have a rider from the host nation of the USA here in the jump-off. As Mandy Porter back in the ring. This rider from Encinitas, California. That's Southern California. That's where she lives. And she rides for Coral Reef Ranch of Rancho Santa Fe aboard the 12-year-old stallion. And this is a beautiful horse. Coral Reef, Follow Me Too. And Coral Reef, Follow Me Too. And Mandy Porter, they haven't had a whole bunch of time together. But this horse is super talented. The rider, equally as talented as well. So when you put those together, and I got to say, the ride, this rider, Mandy Porter, always fantastic. Always gives their horses such a wonderful confidence. And so they don't have to have been together for that long for Mandy Porter and the horses to click. And this is another one, a 12-year-old stallion. And you can just see this absolutely glowing coat on Coral Reef, Follow Me Too, the 12-year-old stallion. In perfect shape. Mandy Porter, USA. First 3 fences. Okay, those are the nice welcome fences, where not a lot of problems have happened in fences 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is a key one. Fence number 5 gets in perfectly, in my opinion. We'll see how it rides out down that line. Does so little touch at the B element coming out. That's not a big deal. This gets the horses just a little bit more focused. Oh, and fence number 7, unfortunately, a little bit of a... She had to ride pretty hard to fence number 8A and 8B. Told you this is a fairly new combination, and this is a 12-year-old stallion. And kind of looked from fence number 7 and her ride to fence number 8A and 8B. The horse got a little bit distracted and possibly thinking of other things than what was ahead of him. So fence number 10A is down. 2 fences down so far, 8 faults. Well, 74.55 seconds, 2 fences down. I've got to say, Mandy Porter, I don't think she's going to be unhappy with that. I know she would love to have had that clear round aboard Coral Reef, Follow Me Too. However, fairly new partnership. The horse is uber talented. The rider uber talented as well. So I expect, remember those names, or that name, Mandy Porter and Coral Reef, Follow Me Too, in the future, because once they put that whole thing together, I think they almost might be unbeatable, because they are amazing. Paul Rohrbach, this rider from Parker, Colorado, rides for Wellsbridge Farm aboard Camarino, a 13-year-old gelding. This horse sired by Cash and Carey. And Paul Rohrbach, professional rider out of Parker, Colorado. And one always in the hunt for first place. A great rider. from that rather snowy state. Obviously, right now we don't have any snow on the ground here in Southern California, nor is any expected in the forecast. But I know all the way back in Colorado they had a little bit of snow. So Paul, certainly happy to be here joining us in this beautiful Coachella Valley. As we come through that 5A, he clucked over top of that fence. That's not a big deal. Just trying to get that a little bit extra encouragement. And well done through that line 5 through 6. Okay, so we're coming into that right across the gazebo, right across the diagonal. Horse planted really nice at fence number 8A. Got there, jumped across it. Okay, 9, not a problem. And I say only 4 fences left, but you know what? There's still 4 demanding fences remaining. The A element coming down, B element coming down. And that's exactly how fast that can happen. You come around that corner, make that left-hand turn, say, hey, you know what, I only have 4 efforts remaining, and bang, bang, that Oxer vertical combination, especially with that light yellow in color, it has a tendency to come down a number of times, and it has so far in this competition. Our $36,500 Desert Welcome, and it comes down for Paul Rohrbach and Camarino. And that is just some tough luck. But you know what, Paul is such a great rider, such a great sportsman as well. So I know he's not unhappy with that. He would love to have been clear and in the jump-off, obviously. With 3 in the jump-off, Lane Clark, Ali Ramsey from Canada, Harley Brown. Hey, I mentioned Canada. This rider from Canada, from Calgary, Alberta, Tammy Phillips. Now, she's a rider and owner of the 12-year-old mare, and a chestnut mare at that, known as Cat Ballou. And this horse, well, I got to say, aptly named Cat Ballou, cat-like reflexes. And Tammy Phillips, she's such a fun rider to watch. Professional rider out of Calgary, Alberta. So there is fence number 1. And fence number 1, sometimes it's the welcoming fence. It may not be the most aggressive fence on course, obviously, because the course designers want to get these horses in, the riders in, and be like, okay, you know, welcome them in, and then start asking the questions. And I think Morena, having done such a great job, fences 1 through 4, being a little bit welcoming. Still fence number 4 in front of the crowd. Now, fence number 5, that was nicely done. Oh, and there is the 6A and 6B. Great job, makes that right-hand turn. And here's another one, that rider that really likes to carry a lot of pace. It's not excessive pace. And there's that 8A coming down. Unfortunately, Cat Ballou just didn't get quite across that triple bar. As I was mentioning, carrying a lot of pace. Tammy Phillips, rarely, if never, you will see Tammy Phillips ever have a time fault, because that's just how she rides. She rides with pace in order for her horses to jump well and jump cleanly. And unfortunately, just that one fence down, fence number 8A, that is some tough luck. But when you're looking down at that 8AB combination, there's a sea of black and white rails. Also, we do have the white planks underneath as well. So things for the horses to kind of hesitate, possibly off the ground. That's what I think happened to Cat Ballou, Tammy Phillips. And, well, you know what? I know she's not happy. You see that hand on the hip in there. She's happy with her horse. Tammy Phillips always is happy with her mounts. But I know if she could take that ride back right now, that's what she's thinking she'd do. It wasn't her fault. I don't think it was anybody's fault. It happens. Well, Ima de la Demi-Lune, 11-year-old gray mare, and this horse is owned by Pot Creek Partners, and the rider, well, here's Cara Anthony from Redmond, Washington.
Pot Creek Partners, Ima de la Demi-Lune, 851.
And certainly a very talented rider here, Cara Anthony. Ima de la Demi-Lune, horse that has a fairly long name, but such a beautiful, beautiful 11-year-old gray mare. She comes down to the first fence. This horse sired by Cardento. And you notice this horse's ears when it's jumping the fence. As it's coming down the last couple of strides, the ears go back, then it focuses straight on, and they go forward. So you know that this horse is paying attention. This horse is wanting to possibly hear, if anything, of what the rider's saying, and then it focuses straight on exactly what its job is to do, and that's that fence in front. And actually, all of these horses, they do that. They lock onto those fences, and that's sometimes one of those more difficult things, especially when you have a little bit more of a windier course, which this one certainly isn't as windy, but they will lock on a fence that they're going past because they think, okay, I'm jumping that one. And they know what their job is, and they love their jobs. So almost got a little bit past her left leg, or the outside leg, coming down to that Cara Anthony. Such a consummate professional rider, such a great rider, and she just made it all work. So she's making that left-hand turn, 10A and 10B. Okay, A is good. Oh! That is just some tough luck. Okay, so 4 faults. Not right now, not out of the picture. Okay, 8 faults. That, in fact, right now, that will put Cara Anthony and Ima de la Demi-Lune out of our top 12 placings. 76.66 seconds, 8 jumping faults, and ranked 19th currently. But such a great rider, such a great horse. I got to say, they just paint such a happy picture. And that 11-year-old mare makes you just, in my opinion, I just want to hug her because she's just adorable. Well, Austria's Peter Pashenik back in the ring. This rider from Murrieta aboard the 10-year-old Holsteiner mare, Color Your Life. And Color Your Life, this is a fairly tall gray mare. So Peter Pashenik right now sitting in 7th place aboard St. Quentin. That was his first ride. And Color Your Life also, with Peter, they've had great success in the Grand Prix ranks. And fence number 3 easily behind them. There's that left-hand turn. Oh, nicely done at fence number 4. And Peter's such a great professional rider. I would have thought at fence number 4 maybe got a touch deep there, but you know what? The horse and the rider just knew exactly what they were doing. It's so much easier to watch on television and say, well, I wouldn't have done that. But when you watch such skill, when they get to a spot where you're like, ooh, could possibly have a front rail, and they just pull it out, that's exactly what they were planning. Okay, 8A and 8B, that's not a problem on a fence number 9. Once again, not a problem at all. This is a really tall gray mare. She's absolutely adorable, jumps great, always likes to be in the ribbons. And Peter does such a nice job with her. Oh, easily through that combination. Just 2 fences remaining. Okay, just 1, and he should have that clear round. There's that clear round. Peter Pashenik and Color Your Life, the rider from Austria. From Oostenrijk, and 75.60 seconds. Well, we have 3 nations represented. Australia with 2 riders, Canada with 1, and now Austria with a rider in the jump-off, Peter Pashenik, and Color Your Life.
We'll watch 661 show next.
So 75.60 seconds.
This will be our 30th in the order.
So we have the 4, would love to go for the handful, have 5 in the jump-off round. And as Peter Pashenik going clear, Christian Heineking from Germany slipping out of our top 12. 12th position, and that is Carl Cook of the USA. So placings 1 through 4 will be determined in the jump-off round. Here's a great combination, horse-rider combination. He rides for Canada, but in fact now calls home Cardiff by the Sea, California, Chris Pratt. And his wonderful partner is the 10-year-old chestnut gelding Concord. And Concord owned by the Epic Group. And this is a Royal Dutch Warmblood. And Chris Pratt and Concord of Canada. And the first of just 6 remaining in this first round. 4 clear and 4 right now advancing on to the jump-off. And Chris Pratt and Concord, they've had so many Grand Prix victories under their belts in their careers. In Concord, only a 10-year-old gelding. But Chris Pratt's such a fantastic rider from Canada. So he makes that approach. Okay, and there's fence number 2. Making that right-hand turn. So far, so good. I know it's the early stages. However, this horse, you watch the height the horse gets over top of the fence. He knows where his body is. He's got all the power in the world. He's got all the scope in the world. And Chris Pratt as the rider. So you have almost a perfect package right here. As Chris gives them such a nice ride. And he's aboard Concorde. And so he's going to make that right-hand turn on fence number 7. And that will be that white tall upright set by Marina Azevedo from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Okay, so far, and some of the horses, they have little light rub or anything like that. This horse, Concorde, hasn't come anywhere close to that. Chris Pratt riding across that oxer at fence number 9. Such a great ride. Kept his leg over top of that to make sure the horse stretched over top. And there is the B element. Well, the A element, unfortunately, coming down. It's that color. I got to say, is that color is the light yellow on the combinations. And just that one final fence remaining, fence number 12. There's that finish line. There's the time, 75.06 seconds. That is just some tough luck, I got to say, because Chris Pratt and Concorde, well, into 11th right now. You know, it's always that one rail when you have 4 faults. I'm not saying that if you have 16 faults, you just throw it out the window, but when you have 4 faults and you're like, oh, what could I have done just to change that and be in the clear ride? And in my opinion, pretty much nothing on that. Uma O'Neill, amateur rider here for the USA, aboard Clockwise at Green Hill Z. And this is a 10-year-old gray stallion. And Uma O'Neill, she's got a couple stallions in her barn. And that are all her rides. And I got to say, this horse at the jogs, he is, if you ever want to have a gentleman, this is the horse. Because this horse is so well-mannered. Clockwise of Green Hill Z. And Uma O'Neill, I got to say, young amateur rider here. Still in her early 20s, but you know what? She is such a fantastic rider. Just moves up to that oxer. Oh, unfortunately, I don't think she quite got there. You looked as she came around the corner and she started to move up. The horse almost looked like it got maybe a little bit flat and couldn't get across the width of that oxer. And sometimes that's what happens. You put your leg on, and the horse reacts so quickly, but they hollow the back a little bit, and they get a little bit flat. So Clockwise of Green Hill Z, Uma O'Neill, 4 faults, not that big a deal. You can see she's picking up the pace a little bit because she knows she wants to be up there with the 4 faulters, and she already has that early rail. But hey, in 6th place, Ashley Bond with 4 faults on a time of 71.31 seconds. So right now, she could still get a good placing. Nice ride through the 10A and 10B. Okay, so she's still on that nice gallop. Cuts to the right-hand side. Encouragement over top of that fence. Comes across 72.28 seconds. You know, that is that amazing thing. I said she's an amateur rider, but I got to tell you, she's also a very, very, very skilled rider. Uma O'Neill, board Clockwise of Green Hill Z, because she had that early rail. She's looking back at the scoreboard with a Jumbotron right there. She had the early rail, and you could see that she picked up that pace. So you have one plan, and it has to change almost instantly. Well, just 4 remaining. Let's go back to Canada. And Canadian Olympian John Anderson. This horse owned by Foxdale Farm. And this is terrific. This Bay Gelding, long-time Grand Prix partner with John Anderson. And just actually a correction, the owner on this horse is John Anderson as well, from Calgary, Alberta. So Canadian Olympian and terrific, and John Anderson. They've had so many Grand Prix victories throughout their career. One thing about terrific, he doesn't waste a whole bunch of time in the air, which helps him out in the jump-offs as well. So you see John he called off that approach down to fence number 1, wanted to do the circle. He knew he had time in the 45 seconds just to maybe get a better canter, or he just didn't see the right spot he wanted to see the first time on that first fence. So once again, this horse doesn't spend a lot of time in the air, which certainly helps him in the jump-offs. He also, when he jumps over top of the fences, he doesn't get scarily close. He just uses just enough, and that is what makes him such a winning horse as well. And John Anderson, such a phenomenal rider from Calgary. So curls up and over fence number 7, comes down to fence number 8A. Nicely done. Nicely done. A little rub on the B element. That's not a big deal, as it remains in the cups. John with a little extra ride at fence number 9, because I think Terrific thought he was going past that fence. Okay, there's the A and B. Oh, just maybe got a little bit too close and just didn't get the landing gear out of the way quite fast enough. Okay, so John Anderson, another Canadian rider. Nice fast time, 73.59 seconds, 4 faults. It's a tough one when you have those 4 faults in the latter stages because you're planning on that clear round, and it doesn't give you any time to maybe be one of the faster 4 faulters. But John Anderson right now in 10th place aboard Terrific. He's in 11th aboard Granite. So John Anderson, 2 in the top 10 and just 3 remaining. Well, this next rider from France, and he is an absolute legend in the sport. Eric Neve aboard Catipso. Catipso owned by Signy Ostoby. And Eric Neve, well, he rides out of Rancho Santa Fe, California now. And if you're looking at one of the most amazing horsemen, in my opinion, around. He's always a gentleman, always takes care of his horses so well. His horses come into the ring, they respond to him, they land, they're looking for the next fence. They're soft and supple through their mouths. Eric Neve does such an amazing job with horses. Always a pleasure to watch him. And so Eric Neve aboard Catipso. Okay, so slight rub at fence number 3. And Eric Neve, as I mentioned previously, he's the trainer for Carl Cook. Here we are on 6A and 6B. The one nice thing, Eric Neve, you never see him do any big moves. His hands are always nice and steady, and the horses will just melt into his hands. Oh, unfortunately, 8A coming down. That is just some tough luck. I would love to have had Eric Neve in the jump-off aboard Catipso, this 10-year-old gelding. This horse, a Hanoverian. So there's that 10A, 10B. So just so far, just the 4 faults. You can see just open that inside rein just a little bit, get the horse to flow through, and 74.96 seconds. It's amazing because Eric Neve never really looks like he's moving, but he always has great times. So 4 faults, that is just some tough luck, and 70 placings, that's going to put him in the 13th spot. And just 2 remaining, both the riders for the USA, Jeff Kempf, and he rides the horse owned by Kimberly Bruce, Wordsworth 2, a 12-year-old Grey Gelding. And Jeff Kempf from Canby, Oregon. So far we do have the 4 clears. Lane Clark from Australia, Ali Ramsey, Canada, Harley Brown, Australia, and Peter Brashenik last to go clear for Austria. So 2 chances remaining for the U.S. for the host nation to get into that jump-off round. And Jeff Kempf and Wordsworth 2. This is a 12-year-old Grey Gelding. And they're very successfully just moving up to this level. They've been very successful Grand Prix duo. But now the FEI World Cup level. And Jeff Kempf, such a phenomenal rider. And unfortunately, that A element coming down just looks like the landing gear, just the front legs didn't get out of the way quite fast enough. And sometimes we have the white planks underneath that 6AB as well, just like we have at 8AB. Forcing fence number 7 coming down and 8B coming down as well. So just those things that sometimes the horses just have a little bit of a look down, and so it's like if you're running down to to jump any fence, and you look down and then you quickly look up and you can misjudge the height of that fence, and sometimes that happens. So Wordsworth 2 and Jeff Camp, 12 jumping faults. Still think it's a great ride. Jeff Camp from Canby, Oregon, he always does a great job through those finish markers. 75.21 seconds, 12 jumping faults. But I'm fairly sure, if I'm going to be talking to Jeff Camp after this, I think he'll be really happy with that. Wordsworth 2, I think he's coming into his own just right at the, early stages of his big Grand Prix career. And Jeff's going to be happy with that. That wonderful horse owned by Kimberly Bruce. And just one remaining. That's a rider from San Francisco, Audrey Coulter. This horse owned by Copernicus Stables is Alex, a 13-year-old of Bay Gelding. This horse a Westphalian. And Audrey Coulter already with World Cup success this year up in Sacramento. So this is a great young rider from San Francisco, Audrey Coulter aboard Alex. And just coming down to that first fence. Okay, so far, so good. And there's that 6A and 6B. Not a problem with the A, not a problem over the B at all. So those first 7 jumping efforts, well, behind her. There's the 8A, 8B. Okay, little rub on 8B, that's not that big a deal. Okay, so there's that combination. Nicely done. 10A, 10B, just 11 and 12. Okay, 11 is done. We have 12, and that means, will we have the USA in the... Oh! That last fence, unlucky fence number 12 coming down. 4 jumping faults, 73.24 seconds. Audrey Coulter and Alex. Now, Audrey looking back at that scoreboard. She knows she's going to be taking home 10th place. We wanted to have the Stars and Stripes, the USA, with one of the jump-off, and unfortunately, we are not going to have the USA, the host nation, in the jump-off, as we have Australia's Lane Clark, Canada's Ali Ramsey, Australia's Harley Brown, Peter Berschenek from Austria. So 3 nations represented here in the jump-off, $36,500 desert welcome this afternoon, and all on the road. I'm told a 3 p.m. start time this Saturday, and that is for the Longines World Cup jumping. So let's have a look at this once again. Placings 1 through 4, we see that. Lane Clark, Ali Ramsey, Harley Brown, Peter Berschenek. They're going to battle it out in the jump-off. Daniela Pedraza from Mexico in 5th. 6th to Ashley Bond. O'Neill in 7th. Ashley Bond in 8th place aboard Chela La Cia. 9th, Peter Berschenek, St. Quentin. 10th, Audrey Coulter and Alex. John Anderson, terrific, in 11th. John Anderson also in 12th aboard Granadass. Mandy Porter in 13th, Eric Neve. And that is how our top placings go. So many riders, so many horses with just one rail down over this absolutely fantastic course designed by Marina Azevedo from Sao Paulo, Brazil. So we're just going through our top placings here. And we're going to be pinning the top 12. But right now, it is anybody's game. Lane Clark, Ali Ramsey, Harley Brown, Peter Berschenek. So Australia, Canada, and Austria.
If you haven't seen that building, you're missing something. It's a spectacular building.
And so those are the interim results. Obviously, because we've not finalized placings 1 through 4. And here we are, just getting ready for the jump-off round, and that'll be a shortened course. Time allowed 52 seconds in that jump-off. And we are on the road to the finals in Omaha this spring. So there's the starting list, the jump-off, Lane Clark and the big horse Baloyu. Melina van der Hooghoeve, Ali Ramsey from Canada, second back, Apex, Harley Brown, and Peter Berschenek and Color Your Life. So we're going to make sure we get all of this jump off taken care of, and it's going to be such a fun jump off. 4 riders, 4 different horses, and it is anybody's game. So we're going to take just a little bit of a break here. Tractors are in the ring, the jump crew, and we have fantastic jump crew just getting right down to business before we come back with that jump off round.
About 3 minutes here now, just about 3 minutes before we're ready to go with our jump off for our $36,500 Desert Classic. 4 riders coming back for the jump off.
Test 1, 2. And so here we are just moments away before we start. $36,500 Desert Welcome jump off. 4 coming back for the jump off. The first rider in the field qualifying, Lane Clark and Balu Yu. Ali Ramsey from Canada. Hermelina van der Hooghoeve. We have Harley Brown, and that was his Mount Apex. And Peter Brzezinski and Color Your Life, that tall 10-year-old gray mare. So we're just getting down to those last little details on course. Time allowed 52 seconds, and we are under International Equestrian Federation rules. In the jump off, only change, obviously, not going to height, alternate height of a fence on course, 4 faults. Refusal, 4 faults as well, second refusal, elimination. The only difference between the first round and the jump off round is in time faults, as now it is 1 time fault per second or part thereof over that time allowed, set at 52 seconds. 320 meters, that's the length on course. And they're going to start on a brand new fence, fence number 14. And that is a nice oxer to start on. From there, they'll make a right-hand turn, B element of the middle of the combinations, so fence number 8B, and that is still in play, the A element, that triple bar having been removed. Right, left-hand turn on fence number 9 with the Mafia stripes, 10A and 10B, oxer vertical combination. And then fence number 2, 3, and 4. So the blue and white oxer, straight down to fence number 3 and fence number 4, right in front of the crowd, and that'll be the final fence. Here's the first one back for the jump off, and this is the tall 12-year-old bay gelding Balu Yu and Lane Clark. This horse owned by Georgie Maskery Segisman. Okay, so Lane Clark, Balu Yu, first back for the jump off. I told you this horse is massive, 18 hands.
Balu Yu, Lane went first in our first round, showed the way,
And he's got a huge stride as well, being that tall. There's the approach to the first fence. And Lane, always such a nice feel on his horses. Okay, so there's 8A, or 8B, just correction. Fence at number 9, easily over that. There's the left-hand turn. Well, the horse doesn't look like he's moving that fast. He's got a massive stride. He just eats up this ground like there's no tomorrow. There's the B. Okay. Now we come right across the whole Grand Prix Stadium. Now to fence number 2. He's going to slice this one just a little bit. Does a beautiful job on that. Makes that right-hand turn. There's fence number 3. Okay, so he's clear so far. Just 1 fence remaining. This should not be a problem. There's the gallop. There's that finish line, and what a ride, Lane Clark, Balu Yu. 44.05 seconds, no jumping faults at all. Lane obviously happy with that. And you see the horse lands after that. Lane just drops the reins and the horse relaxes. Such a great job. So Lane Clark, Balu Yu, and the time to beat, 44.05 seconds. Now with him going clear, that puts a little bit more pressure on the remaining competitors, because if the first one has 4 faults, you go, okay, I can go clear and still beat them. But now you have to go clear and fast, faster than 44.05 seconds. This rider certainly could do so. Ali Ramsey, Hermelina van der Hooghoeve. Okay, so Lane Clark came off the right. Ali Ramsey coming off the left lead. And I think she's thinking, because it's going to make that slice, she'll be able to slice that first oxer and jump it from left to right. Okay, so she didn't slice it quite that much, but enough. Because she knows she has to go clear and fast. Right now, I think she looks like she is a little bit faster. Nice turn back to that combination. She keeps the foot down on the pedal here. Okay, so through that combination, long gallop across the other side of the Grand Prix Stadium. Okay, fence number 2 behind them, so just 2 more. There's the vertical, she's turning. Oh, nice turn. And can she do it? 44.05, I think she's got it. There's that finish line. Yes, indeed. 43.03 seconds by a full second. Ali Ramsey. So Canada into first place. And Ali Ramsey, Hermelina van der Hooghoeve, that young rider from Victoria, BC, now in pole position. She is on top of that podium. However, there are two professional riders that will have their say in this as well. And this will bring us to Harley Brown, and he rides for Australia aboard Apex. 43.03 seconds. Is it fast enough? We have no idea.
Fast rides here. Here's Apex and Harley Brown trying to beat a time of 43.03.
Okay, so Ali came off the left lead. Lane came off the right lead. Harley's coming off that left lead. I bet he's going to slice fence number 14, first fence in the jump off, just even that much harder than Ali Ramsey did. A little bit more difficult because these are really wide standards as well. Okay, there is that turn. Sets his horse up nicely for the vertical. Almost goes center to center. Okay, makes the left-hand turn. Here's the combination. It caused a lot of problems in the first round. Obviously not a problem for any of those. Oh, and that, unfortunately, the oxer coming down. Not sure if the horse really got its eye on that oxer as it came around that corner. So 4 faults so far. Harley still has to keep the gas pedal on because possibly Peter could have 4 faults. We have no idea yet. So 4 faults as he comes home. And a nice ride, 44.50 seconds. And unfortunately, just fence number 10A coming down for Apex and Harley Brown. That's going to put him into third place.
So with just one left now.
So Canada in the lead, Australia in second, Australia in third, and Austria the last to go. And that is Peter Boshenik and Color Your Life. Okay, so let's have a look. Peter Boshenik looking around. There's the sound of the tone. Bell going off. Peter just backing his horse up, making sure his horse is underneath herself as she comes down to the first fence. So off the left-hand lead as well. Off that left lead. Oh! And unfortunately, it comes down. That means Ali Ramsey, Canada, in first place. And as I mentioned, that's why Harley Brown kept the pace going, because you have no idea right down to that final horse crosses that finish line what's going to happen here in this amazing sport of show jumping. As Color Your Life and Peter Boshenik now with 4 faults, and they know they want to be in third place. So they're going to have to go faster than 44.50 seconds. So just 2 fences remaining. Okay, so he's coming home, slices that one a little bit. Oh, 44.35 seconds. He is fastest of the 4 faulters. That's going to put him into third place, I do believe. And we're going to finalize all of our top placings. Yes, indeed, Peter Boshenik from Austria in third place aboard Color Your Life. So right now it's going to go Ali Ramsey. These are the official results. Ali Ramsey in first place. Hermelina van der Hoog-Huva, Lane Clark in second aboard Baloyu, Peter Boshenik in third, Harley Brown in fourth, the rider from Mexico, Daniel Pedraza in fifth, Ashley Bond taking home sixth, seventh, Uma O'Neill, eighth, Ashley Bond, Peter Boshenik in ninth place. So Peter, well, 2 in the top 9, he's in third and ninth, Audrey Coulter in 10th, and 11th and 12th, John Anderson from Calgary, Alberta, that Canadian rider. So the Canadian riders, they play the bookends on the ribbons in first and in 12th place. In our $36,500 Desert Welcome, such a great competition this afternoon. And once again, we're looking forward to Saturday, 3 p.m. here on the West Coast. So Ali Ramsey, Canada, she does it. Fastest of the double clears, 43.03 seconds. Second of the gate in the jump-off, Lane Clark, Baloyu in second place. Peter Boshenik, Color Your Life. Harley Brown, Daniel Pedraza, Arc de Triomphe. And those are our top placings that we're seeing online and on FEI YouTube television. Such a wonderful, wonderful event. So we're just getting the arena ready for these presentations, and our top 12 coming back into this competition arena for the presentations of the $36,500 Desert Classic. We'll be back with those results in just a moment. Got to say, what a rider there, $36,500 Desert Welcome, and a great rider indeed, riding for Canada. And the champion this afternoon aboard her Merlina van de Hooghoeve, Ali Ramsey from Canada. And I do believe Ali Ramsey, her Merlina van de Hooghoeve, just moving off to have that official photograph taken. Such a fun event this afternoon for qualifying for the jump off. And the young rider from Victoria, British Columbia, Ali Ramsey, rider and owner of her Merlina van de Hooghoeve, taking home first place, that 10-year-old bay mare. Get that official photograph taken by ESI Photography. And such a wonderful day of show jumping here in the beautiful Coachella Valley, our $36,500 Desert Classic. And that official photograph having been taken, ladies and gentlemen, and at this time we'd ask you to please rise as we honor the champion of the Desert Classic this afternoon. And once again, please rise for the playing of the Canadian National Anthem. So here we are honoring the champion with their playing of their national anthem, Ali Ramsey from Victoria, British Columbia, Canada, her Merlina van de Hooghoeve. Certainly what a great victory for Ali Ramsey from Victoria, BC, Canada, and her Merlina van de Hooghoeve on second place. Let's meet our field in second. And riding for Australia, Lane Clark aboard Baloo. Third to the rider from Austria, Peter Berschenik, and Color Your Life. In fourth place, the rider from Australia, Harley Brown, aboard Apex. Fifth place, and that's the rider from Mexico, Daniel Pedraza and Arc de Triomphe. Well, sixth to Ashley Bond and Cornancer. Seventh place for the USA, O'Neill, clockwise of Green Hill Z. Ashley Bond taking home eighth place aboard Chela Lacia. In ninth, Peter Berschenik and St. Quentin. 10th, Audrey Coulter. Alex, 11th. And 12th, John Anderson. 11th aboard Terrific. And 12th aboard Granite S. And Ali, we just have one more thing. If you could please do so, we'll please ask you to lead our field in our victory run. And those, once again, the top placings, $36,500 Desert Welcome Stake. And there she is, brand new cooler aboard her Merlina van de Hooghoeve, the champion from Canada, Ali Ramsey. Baloo and Lane Clark in second. Color Life, Peter Berschenik taking home third place. And Harley Brown, Apex in fourth spot. Fifth is the rider from Mexico, Daniel Pedraza and Arc de Triomphe. In sixth place, highest American rider, Ashley Bond, Cornancer. Seventh to O'Neill, clockwise of Green Hill Z. Ashley Bond, Chela Lacia in eighth. 9th, Peter Boshenik in St. Quentin. 10th, Audrey Coulter, Alex. 11th and 12th, Canadian Olympian John Anderson. 11th aboard Terrific. And 12th aboard Granite S. Well, that concludes our $36,500 Desert Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow. And online, FEI YouTube, thank you so much for joining us and watching such a fun event. And we will see you, well, in just a couple days as we have the Saturday's World Cup qualifier, the Longines World Cup jumping, Saturday, 3 p.m. I'm told that is the start time, and that'll be on FEI TV. Thank you once again for joining us.